Russian-Ukrainian tensions reached their highest point today when U.S. intelligence reportedly predicted Russia would begin invading Ukraine on February 16. As reported by Reuters, Tuesday, February 15, 2022, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also set February 16 as the Day of Unity. Zelensky called on Ukrainians to raise flags in buildings and sing the national anthem in unison on Wednesday. Ukrainian officials stressed that Zelensky did not predict an attack on that date. However, he only responded to foreign media reports with skepticism. A number of Western media outlets cited U.S. officials and others as calling the date a time when the Russian military was ready to strike. They tell us that February 16 will be the day of the attack. We will make it a day of unity, Zelensky said in a video message addressed to the Ukrainian people. They are trying to scare us once again by mentioning the start date of military action. Zelensky has long said that while he believes Russia is a threat to his country, the possibility of an imminent invasion has been overstated by Western allies. This attitude of the president of Ukraine certainly gives a glimmer of hope that war between the two neighboring countries can be prevented. A number of diplomatic steps have also been taken by European countries to eliminate the possibility of war between the West and Russia since the Cold War era. On Monday, the Kremlin signaled that it was ready to continue talking to the West about the security complaints that led to the current Ukraine crisis. This of course offers hope that Russia may not attack its neighbor as the US and its European allies fear. Despite warnings from Washington, London and other countries that Russian troops could move into Ukraine tomorrow, a meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov suggested otherwise. In a discussion session with Putin on Russian television, Lavrov argued that Moscow should hold more talks with the US and its allies. Although the West refuses to consider Russia's main security demands, Moscow, which denies having any plans to invade Ukraine, wants Western assurances that NATO will not allow Ukraine and other ex-Soviet states to join as members. Russia also wants the alliance to stop spreading weapons into Ukraine and withdraw its troops from Eastern Europe, a demand the West vehemently denies. Talks cannot go on indefinitely, but I would suggest continuing and expanding them at this stage, Lavrov said. He noted that Washington had offered to engage in dialogue on limits to missile deployments in Europe, restrictions on military exercises and other measures. Lavrov said the possibility for talks is far from final. Both comments appear designed to send a message to the world about Putin's own position, namely, that hope for a diplomatic solution is not dead. On a recent diplomatic trip, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said there was no plausible reason for the buildup of more than 130,000 Russian troops on Ukraine's borders in the north, south and east. There is no plausible reason for such a military deployment in Ukraine, Scholz said. Meanwhile, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres held talks with Lavrov and Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. He stressed that abandoning diplomacy for confrontation will only destroy all sides. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said Europe was on the brink of these tensions. Nevertheless, Johnson urged, there is still time for President Putin to step down. France's Foreign Minister, Jean-Yves Le Drian, told French television that all elements were ready for a Russian attack. However, nothing shows today that Putin has decided to do. One possibility to diffuse tensions emerged this week when Ukraine's ambassador to the UK, Vadim Prystaiko, raised the possibility of Ukraine cancelling its offer of NATO membership. This would probably be done if it would prevent war with Russia. We probably did that, especially being threatened like that, blackmailed by it, and pushed into it, Prystaiko told BBC Radio 5. On Monday, Prystaiko appeared to back down from the idea. But the fact that the idea was raised shows that the option is being discussed by Ukraine behind closed doors. Look forward to further news about the military only on the Military News Channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.